Okay, so let me pin my video and then we'll go ahead and get started. So I titled this pop-up Zoom about enrolling customers and distributors. So I also went live on the team page if you didn't see that yet. I did go live about this already, but I wanted to go more in depth and just kind of talk with y'all where I could actually see your faces and let you ask questions if you have any. But first thing is if you're doing all the things and you're just not enrolling, like you're consistently showing up, you're getting on these Zooms, you're doing your six list every single day, you're posting, messaging, following new people, following up, doing self development, and interacting, and you feel like you're not getting the type of results that you want, I want you to put a 2 in the chat. I'm assuming that's almost all of you because that's why you're on the Zoom, but I want you to put a 2 in the chat because number one, I want you to feel like you're not alone. And number two, I want you to realize why you came to the Zoom and what you're wanting to get out of it. Because if you know what you're trying to get out of the Zoom, then hopefully you'll walk away with knowing that. But if you just kind of show up and you're just like, yeah, I hope I get some good information, you might not leave with the aha moment that you were hoping for. So I want you to kind of think about those things in your mind as we're talking. The first thing that I want to talk about, and if you watch my live, some of this will be repetitive, but a lot of it's going to be new information. So the first thing is that the six list. Right? Everybody knows what the six list is. I just went over it. Will somebody, maybe a leader, type the six list in the chat? Amber, will you do that? Only because I see you on my screen. So Amber's going to put what the six list is in the chat. So if you don't know what the six list is, that's the thing that we do every single day to grow our business. It's the 6 things that we do every single day. So what I talked about on the live is that eventually at some point in your business, you have to level up and you have to graduate yourself from doing the things that you did whenever you started to going a little bit above and beyond those things to be able to get where you want to be in your business. So for example, I'm trying to go ambassador, which is the top rank in the company. So if my goal every day was to just get my six list done and I patted myself on the back for that every day, I would still be doing the very things I was doing to go Ruby. And we know that to go Ruby, you have to have a different level than if you're going ambassador. Does that make sense to everybody? Put a 3 in the chat if that makes sense. But really quick, that Amber just put a six list in there. So scroll up if you need that. But hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm saying is some of you have been in this business long enough that you're like six list, got it. Like I know what that is. I know what I need to do every day. I do that every day. If you put a 2 in the if you put a 2 in the chat earlier, you are that person. You're like, I'm doing my six list every day. I know what that is. Easy peasy. Like I'm making time for it. I'm showing up. I'm still doing my six list, but I'm just not really getting anywhere. And those are the people that I really want to talk to tonight. So if you're not doing your six list yet, that's step 1. Step 2, though, is to really graduate yourself from the six list to instead of just getting it done and being excited to just mark it off of a list and just say, okay, I checked it off the box, done. Now I can feel good about myself and move on with my day. I want you to really dig deep and I want you to look at the results that you're getting from what you're doing in your six list. Okay. So we're still doing the six list, no matter how long you've been here. Six list is non-negotiable. If I have a busy day, I will stay up late if that's what it takes. I will wake up early if that's what it takes. I plan my day out the night before, and that really helps me to be able to see what my day is going to look like so that I know what I need to do to prepare and plan ahead for what tomorrow is going to look like. So the six list is non-negotiable. Okay. But I also want you to realize that you need to be getting results from your six list. Okay. So again, like I was talking about in the live video, what I'm saying what I mean when I say that is posting. Okay. We don't care about the likes and the comments, but messaging. Are you getting in good conversations or are you just sending 35 to 50 messages to check it off of a list? Right? Are you looking at that task on that list and saying, okay, messaging. All right, well, I'll get 35 out. That's the minimum. I'll just send out a couple messages. And if I get responses, I do. And if I don't, I'll try again tomorrow. Or are you saying, I'm going to send a minimum of 35 to 50 messages, but my goal is to get into 15 good conversations every single day? Because I know for me, whenever I can get in 15 good conversations, and that's just a random number I'm throwing out there, for you, it might be 10, for you, it might be 20, but getting in those good conversations and having that number is going to hold you accountable to not only send out the messages, but to make sure that you're actually getting responses and that you're getting in conversations about the products and the business with people, because that's what leads to enrollments. Okay. Messaging is step one. And once you have that down and you're like, okay, I'm done. I got it. Like, I know I need to message. I know what to send out. I got this. Graduate yourself and call yourself higher and say, okay, now it's time for me to make sure that I'm getting in 15 good conversations every single day. And when you do, you're going to realize that, oh my gosh, I'm enrolling more people, because I'm not just sending out the messages and hoping to get a response. Because I think if all of us were to go back and look at the amount of messages that we're sending out versus the amount of good conversations that we're having, you would be like, oh shoot, I didn't even realize that. I was saying, like, I was messaging every single day, but I didn't realize I wasn't actually getting in very many conversations. Put a 4 in the chat if you were like, oh, that's an aha moment. I think that's me. I need to get in better conversations instead of just sending out messages. And here's what I mean by a conversation. It's just like a conversation in person, because you're like, okay, well, what is considered a conversation and what's not? If I were to say, Megan, I really like your shirt, and you said, thanks, is that really a conversation? No, not really. But if I said, Megan, I really love your shirt, where did you get it? And she said, oh, I got it from Target. You know, it was on sale. And I was like, oh my gosh, did you get it recently? It's so cute. I love it. She's like, yeah, I just got it last week. That's a conversation. Okay. So whenever we're thinking about a conversation, it's, hey, are you interested in the products? Yes, I'm interested in the products. Can you send me some more information? Yes, here's the coffee information and the before and after picture. Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. That's a conversation. Okay. It can be them reaching out to you. And that's the beauty of this, because maybe you reached out to 50 people and you only had 5 people message you back from those 50 messages, but you also put a poll up and you messaged everybody who voted on that poll. And that's where your other 10 conversations came from. Do you see how that's the focus now? And it helps you to kind of see that, oh, if I can just get in enough conversations, it doesn't matter where those conversations come from, as long as I'm getting in enough conversations. And it also puts you on the hook to remind yourself that, hey, it might not be 35 to 50 messages. It might be 75 one day, and it might only be 20 the next day. But either way, your goal at the end of the day is to make sure that you are getting 15 good conversations going every day. Again, 15 is a random number. Your number can be whatever you would like it to be. And some of you are going to have to feel that out, because maybe 15 conversations isn't getting you in many enrollments as you want it to. Maybe if you're going triple diamond, your goal is 30 good conversations every day, because you're really putting in that 10x effort. Okay. So maybe if you're going Ruby and you're like 10 conversations a day, if I can do that, then I know I'm going to get my distributors. I know I'm going to bring in some customers. I can complete my 6 list with 10 good conversations a day. Do that. Okay. So feel it out and see what works for you. But I want you to focus on that. Now, the other thing too is with following and getting people added to your network. It's the same principle. Okay. Because you might be sending out a lot of friend requests every single day, but you might only actually be getting 2 people to add you back if you actually paid attention to the number of people who respond to that. And so you might be feeling really good about, like, oh my gosh, well, I sent 50 friend requests out today. So why do I have no one else to message for host to post? But it's because they're not adding you back. And so then your focus becomes, okay, I want to grow my friends list. I want to get my number of friends higher on Facebook today than it was yesterday. So for example, maybe this morning you woke up with 412 Facebook friends. I want you to say, okay, by tonight, I'm going to get 432 Facebook friends. That means I've gotten 20 new Facebook friends today. Maybe you sent out 30 friend requests. Maybe you sent out 100 friend requests. I don't know how many it's going to take for you to get those 20, but when that 20 is your goal, now you're going to have new people to interact with the next day. And then the following day, you can go and message them for host to post. Okay. And exactly what Amber said in the chat, it all goes together. That's why interacting is super important. That's why messaging is super important. That's why adding to your network is super important. That's why posting is important. Because if I'm showing who I am in my stories and on my page, and we'll talk about this later, people are going to be more likely to add me back as a friend whenever I friend request them. So I don't have to send out so many friend requests every single day, because a lot of people want to add me back. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too, but keep that in mind and give yourself a magic number on Instagram and Facebook every single day of people that you want to add you back. If you feel like you're sending out 100 friend requests every single day and you're still only getting a couple of people to respond back to you, then the issue is no longer the amount of work that you're doing. It's probably either the type of people that you're adding or the way that your profile looks. Okay, because if you're sending out 100 friend requests every day and you're not getting 20 people to add you back, then there's a different issue there. Okay, so I just want you to realize like it might be a couple of other things you can switch up, because we're not just trying to do the most work, we're trying to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about posting and profiles and things like that in just a little bit, but did those things make sense so far? Everybody tracking with me? Everybody like, okay, good, got this? All right, put a 5 in the chat if all of that makes sense so far. Okay, now the next thing that I want to talk about is something that Macy said today on our leadership coffee chat. She said, eat the frog. Okay, and it's from a book called Eat the Frog. And what that phrase means is do the thing that you least like to do first and get it over with. And some of you feel like that about messaging, or some of you feel like that about adding to your network. And instead of leaving that to the last thing to do every day, like, okay, I got every single thing done for my 6 list. Now I'm going to go do this thing. For Amber, it's interacting. For me, it's messaging. So whatever thing that you least like to do, or the thing that causes you the most resistance, you're going to start doing that thing first instead of doing that thing last. So now it's out of the way, and then you get to do everything else after that. Okay. So for messaging or interacting or adding to your network, where it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't really know where this ends. Like, I'm going to start this task and I don't really know how I know when to stop. What I want you to do is something that I've learned to do, and it's actually made it a little bit more fun for me, especially if you're a blue. Y'all always love to have fun. That's kind of how I am too. So make sure that you set an alarm on your phone so that you have an endpoint, and you say, okay, for 10 minutes, I'm going to interact, or 10 minutes, I'm going to message. Again, the goal is still the result. So maybe you need to go back in another nook and cranny of your day and do it again if that didn't get you the results that you wanted. Okay. But for the first time, maybe it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes of messaging. You're going to set an alarm for that. Then put on your favorite music and listen to it on Spotify or Pandora or Apple Music, and listen to those songs while you interact, and make it a little bit more fun for yourself. These are mindless tasks that we can do while we're making it fun. Okay. So make sure that you do those things so that you can get the hard stuff out of the way, then get the easy stuff done afterwards. So a lot of us are putting those things off, like interacting and messaging or whatever you least like to do, whatever seems least fun to you, for last, and then it ends up not getting done because we just don't have time for it and we're not making the time. Okay. And for a lot of us, that's messaging, and that is one of the most important parts of what we do. So make sure that you eat the frog and get the stuff done first. Hopefully that weird random like phrase will stick with you. And if you're taking notes, write it down in your notes. Eat the frog. Okay. Get the hard stuff done first, and then you can worry about the rest of it. The other thing I want you to do, and this is gonna sound like the opposite of what I've told you, okay, but I want you to follow me. I want you to be consistent. If you're doing all the things and you feel like you're not getting the results, be consistent and focus on the process. But you just said to focus on the results that you can control. But I want you to focus on the process overall in this business. So for me, what that looks like, I'm getting in 15 good conversations every day because I can control that. I can control how many people I message. I can control how many posts I get up, because I can message more people if I'm not getting enough up. I can control my giveaway posts and how often I'm doing those. I can control if I'm putting up a poll or a question box on Instagram stories so that I can get in more conversations. I can control that based on my work ethic. But I'm not going to focus on my enrollments for my customers or my distributors, because I can't control someone giving me their card information or someone going to my website and signing up as a distributor. Whenever you focus on the results of the business, meaning going Ruby, going Diamond, getting distributors, getting customers, can you control any of that? No. You can do the work, and that's where we're talking about focusing on the results of your 6 list. But overall, generally in this business, you cannot control when you promote, how you promote, with the people that you promote with, the customers that come in, the distributors that come in. We can't control that. We can control the things that it takes to get all of those things, yes. But when I'm focused on getting my 6 list done and getting in 15 good conversations versus getting a customer or 2 today, I'm encouraged versus discouraged. Put a 4 in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, because whenever I'm focused on my conversations, doesn't that lead to customers? If you're having the right kinds of conversations, which I've talked about multiple times on Zooms, if you've missed that Zoom or live, it's on the team page. It's on my YouTube channel. You can search it. There's 2 different videos that talk about my exact conversations that I have. So if you're having 15 of those types of good conversations, the customers are going to come. But if you can focus on the process, the 6 list, getting results from doing that 6 list and being consistent with that, the rest is just a byproduct. Ruby's going to happen because of this. Customers are going to come because of the 6 list. The distributors are going to come because of the 6 list and being consistent with that every single day. And when you're focused on that, you're more encouraged because you know that you can control that. Oh, well, I only got in 12 conversations today. Well, got to get in 3 more before I go to bed. And you can control that. But when you're focused on the customers and the distributors that are coming in or not, how do you feel? Like crap, right? Because all you're focused on is what you don't have. You're focused on the lack. And we know that whatever we focus on expands. So if we're focused on the lack, we're going to bring more lack into our lives. We're going to manifest more lack of customers, more lack of distributors, more lack of volume, more lack of promotions. And so if we can focus on the process and not the results of the business overall, then you're going to be more encouraged because you know that that's going to come. That's not the goal. That's the byproduct. What's the goal? Consistency with our 6 listing, the results that we get from doing it every day, adding people to our network, getting them actually on our Facebook and in our Instagram, and getting in good conversations every day, and doing the rest of your 6 list consistently. That leads to the promotions. That leads to the distributors, to the customers. Okay. Somebody else asked me, getting in good conversations, what does that consist of? I said this earlier, maybe you missed it if you just hopped on, but getting in good conversations is just like a conversation that you would have in person, actually talking with someone. So if I just say, hey, here's the information about a product, and they were like, oh, okay, cool. And then I sent them something back and they didn't respond, I wouldn't call that a conversation. But if we're going back and forth where I'm at least giving them the 90-day challenge information or I'm getting their number, that's a good conversation. Okay. But yes, it takes the pressure off. It makes it fun. So focus on the process and not the results that you're getting as far as Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, customers, distributors, volume. If you can focus on the process and the things that you're doing with your 6 list and getting good results from doing that every day, that's going to be how you get the rest of the stuff. And it all just comes. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is a lot of you are doing the 6 list, right? We talked about that a little bit ago. You put a 2 in the chat. You're doing your 6 list, but some of you need to actually go back to what you originally got a Facebook and an Instagram for, and that's to share about your life. Because some of you are so focused on doing your 6 list, which I love, but I think that some of us are missing the part that people really get connected with. And that's who we are as a person. We always say, as leaders in this business, people buy into you before they buy into the product. Okay. So people will message me. They'll be more likely to message me and reach out to me first because they feel like they know me. They feel like they know my dog. They feel like they know my husband. They feel like they know my life. They feel like they know my travels. They feel like they know my bad luck. They feel like they know like all these different things about who I am as a person, the things that I love and the food that I eat. They're like, you're always eating tacos and Chick-fil-A and honey roasted barbecue sauce. I'm like, I know, but they feel like they know me. And so whenever I post about something and I say, hey, message me, DM me info if you want more information about the business. I get a lot of DMs because people feel comfortable to reach out to me because they feel like they know me. And so I want you to pay attention to what your Facebook looks like. And I want you to go look at a couple of different top leaders Facebook pages and Instagrams, maybe some of our leaders in here, maybe Amber and Brooke. I saw some people, some of y'all were commenting. So if y'all could just maybe put some names of people that you like to follow, who you think have really good Facebooks. I know Cheyenne Knox, Kelly Brown, Rachel Jones. Those are a couple of people, but I want y'all to look at these names. So screenshot this, take a picture of this, write this down in your notes. I want you to go look at these people's Facebooks, and then I want you to compare it to yours. Okay. And not in the comparison way that we talked about on Monday, where you're like, oh, they're great and I'm crap. Okay. It's not that. It's for inspiration. I go to these people's pages and I'm friends with these people, and I go to their pages all the time and I'm like, okay, what are they posting about? Oh, I love that they talk about their family so much. I should do more of that, because I love the interaction and engagement that they're getting from being so open about talking about their family. Okay. So we want to post about the business. We want to post about the products. Posting about one of those two things every day as part of your 6 list, it's non-negotiable. Of course, we're going to post about those things, but I want you to be intentional to post about your dog. It can be a picture of your dog with like, oh my gosh, I love this dog. She's so cute. It's something so simple like that. I know Amber posts about Harper all the time. I know Brooke posts about Granger all the time. I know Alexis, she's on here. She has like one of those dehydrator things. I always think it's an air fryer, but it's not. She always posts about things that she's making on that. She always posts about food that she's making. And I know Alicia on here, I'm just looking at the names. She always posts about her family and her cute little, family, and like all their pictures and the things that they're doing together. And I know what Alicia looks like. I can see her face on her Facebook. I know what Amber looks like. I know what Brooke looks like. People know what I look like, because if they scrolled through my Facebook, it would not take them long to be able to say, oh, that's who this is. That's that girl. And I also, as you're looking through these people's Facebooks and Instagrams, I want you to look at how their page is bright and it captures your attention. Because if you are adding people to your network every day and you're not getting a lot of people accepting your friend requests, it might be that your page is too dark or dingy or isn't bright enough or capturing enough or captivating enough for people to add you back. I know that sounds shallow, but think about it. If you're posting a picture, and I'm not saying that any of you do this, but let's say you're posting a picture in a dark room that's super blurry and it's a selfie like this, versus somebody that has a profile picture like me, and I'm not saying mine's great, but look at this. This is what my Facebook looks like in case y'all haven't seen it. Which one would you want to add? Do you see my background? It's not of people, which I know Kelly Brown's is of her family, but mine's not. Mine's actually just a simple little quote that says, good things are coming. And it's something that's positive. Like when you go to that, I hope that it exudes positivity and brightness and encouragement. That's what I want people to get as soon as they get to my page. How do you feel whenever you go to your page? Maybe that's something that you can edit, and that small change is going to shift so much for your business. Because think about it. If you get more people adding you back, you're doing less work and you get to be able to spend that time making TikToks and reels instead of adding 300 people to get 20 people to add you back. And if more people are adding you, that's more people that are seeing your post. That's more people that are getting to be messaged to host a post for you. That's more people that are getting exposed to the opportunity. It all works hand in hand, and you think that it doesn't really make a difference, but it totally does. Okay. The last thing that I want to talk to you about really quick is the way that you speak to yourself. Okay. And I want everybody to pay attention. Put your phones away for just 2 seconds. Okay. I need all eyes looking at me for like 2 seconds. I'm going to totally teacher you right now. All eyes on me. I used to say that to my little kindergartners. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Okay. Anyway, so up here. Here's the deal. The way you talk to yourself, if you're like, okay, I did everything that you're talking about. I got a couple tips. That's good. I'll edit my profile picture. I'll change some of that stuff. But for the most part, I'm doing what you're saying. I want you to ask yourself, what are the things that go through your mind on a daily basis that you say to yourself, that you speak to yourself? And I want to tell you this. I know a lot of you are moms on here. I know some of you aren't, but I want you to think about it this way. Don't ever say something to yourself that you would never say to your child. So when you start thinking to yourself, oh, you can't do this. You're such a failure. You're never going to be good at this. You're never going to be able to get distributors. You're never going to sign customers. You're never going to be able to have financial freedom. Would you ever say that to your kids? I know none of you would. And if you don't have kids, and I I don't say moms because sometimes we're like, I don't know, I love my mom and I'm so sweet to my mom, but also like my grandma is just like a different level. Like we're like, we just like extra love our grandmas and they're so precious and like fragile. Don't say if you wouldn't say it to your grandmother, okay? Or your grandfather. If you don't have kids, think of it that way. Would you ever say that stuff to them or your best friend or your mom or your dad or whoever? If you wouldn't, don't say it to yourself. Some of you have started speaking so much crap into your life that you've started believing it. That it doesn't matter how much work you do. It doesn't matter how many of the things that you do, how many conversations you get in, how many people that you have added to your Facebook every day, no matter how good your Facebook looks, no matter how much you're talking about your family, you're still not going to sign anyone because that's what you've said to yourself. That's what you've told yourself over and over and over again. And we know that whatever we speak about, we bring about. So whenever you hear me talking, you're never going to hear me say all the people who didn't respond to my messages. It's not because it doesn't happen. It's because that's not where my focus is. And it's because that's not what I want more of. So why would I talk about it? And whenever I have people that just leave me on red, it's not because it doesn't happen. I just don't talk about it because I don't want more of that. It's just because I don't want to think about those things. My mind doesn't dwell on those things. The Bible says, have your mind and your thoughts dwell on the things above. And that's what I'm focused on. I'm not thinking about all the crap and the negativity, although I could say the same things to myself that you guys say to yourself, but I've grown and I've chosen not to. So just know I started where you are, but now I am where I am. And so I know that if I can do this and I can change my mindset, so can you. Okay. So that's all. I have to jump on my other Zoom, but I hope that this was helpful for you. Take these tips and don't just be like, oh, good Zoom. I want you to go and implement these tips. I want you to go do them because nothing changes if nothing changes. Go take these tips and go run with them. And you have half of the month left, y'all. Go do something with it. I want you to decide right now that wherever you were going at the beginning of the month, that it still matters, that you're going there at the end of the month, come hell or high water. You're making a decision right now and you are deciding in this moment that this is going to be, that enough is enough. That you can be a mass enroller, you can complete your 6 list, you're going to speak life over yourself in those things. Okay. I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for hopping on. Bye guys.